Yo, what's going on, guys? Sekapoko here, bringing you another Genshin Impact video. For this video, we got 2 days left and 43 minutes left on the Asia server. Tartagle banner and the new banner has finally been announced in the game. We have the brand new Zhongli banner that we've all known about for some time. Of course, we have Razor and Chongyun on the banner. We're going to be going over the banner specifically, giving you some ideas of what I expect, and of course going over the new unit Xinyan and giving you ideas and my thoughts and opinions on the unit. So guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, very briefly, we're going to go over the banner and talk about the details of the banner itself. If you did not know, this is going to be a raid-up banner for these 3 units. It's going to be for Xinyan, Razor, and Chongyun. We're going to be going over Zhongli specifically as well. This is going to be a raid-up banner, where it's very similar to the child banner. There's no differences between the banner. There's also going to be the new weapon banner with a brand new 5-star weapon and a brand new polearm 5-star weapon, both of which are going to be the same as the Memory of the Dust to my recollection. The differences in these 2 weapons might actually be in the main stat and percent stat bar, but I'm not quite sure. The raid ups on the side over here we're going to see are going to be the Favonius Warbow, Favonius Codex, Lion's Roar, Dragon's Bane, and Bell. Now, the Lion's Roar is a pretty decent weapon for Kaching, an okay weapon for Bennett, kind of like just a mid-grade there weapon there. Bell is one of the worst weapons, but an okay weapon for Chongyun if you're using him as support, depending on how you can use him. I'll go over that in a little bit. Favonius Codex and Warbow are both kind of meh. Favonius Codex is okay, good for Mona specifically, and Dragon's Bane is really good for Zhongli specifically. It's really the only unit in the game that can use it. But Dragon's Bane is also not the best in-slot weapon for Zhongli. It is far from it, and there's actually a free-to-play weapon, the Crescent Pike, that is much better. However, if you're going to be using Zhongli as a support, this is a very good support weapon for Zhongli. Now, I mentioned the Bell is really good for Chongyun, and the reason I say the Bell is pretty good for Chongyun, but I don't believe you should summon for it, because it'd be foolish because you'll need R1, is taking damage generates a shield which absorbs 32% of the max HP. The shield lasts for 10 seconds or until broken, and can only occur every 45 seconds. While protected by the shield, characters gain 24% damage. The reason that's good for Chongyun is this whole animation arc that you're doing with Chongyun as a giant animation right here. In that time frame, you're not really able to iframe or move around a lot. And because you're not able to move around a lot, there is a vulnerability frame where you can take a large amount of damage. Now, most of you are going to be pulling on this banner most likely for Zhongli and Razor, as well as Xinyan. The reason everybody wants to pull for Razor is because he gets some really beast mechanics on his constellations. Now, for constellations for Razor, which are very likely if you're going to be pulling on multiple multis on the Zhongli banner, you're going to be picking up an elemental orb or particle is going to increase Razor's overall damage by 10% for 8 seconds. So at C1, he gets a overall 10% boost. Now, this is really easy to obtain, and any elemental orb or particle increases his damage. That means basically anytime you use your E and then you pick up a particle, that's how you get it. It's very similar to how the Crescent Pike works. Over here, we have increases crit rate by enemies less than 30% HP, so you have a very good execute mechanic. Of course, on 3 and 5, we increase your ultimate as well as other abilities, so we'll skip those. The Constellation 4, when casting a Claw and Thunder, enemies hit will have their defense decreased by 15% for 7 seconds. Now, the Claw and Thunder ability, of course, is going to be your E ability, so whether you use a charge ability or just a normal ability for it, you get a very large amount of time where their defense is reduced. And if you're just using a press mechanic on this, you do get a surge amount of damage. Now, if you ever use the hold, of course, your duration on the ability is a lot longer, so you're going to have to deal with that when using it. The final constellation for Razor is going to be the Razor Sword charges up, causing the next normal attack to release a lightning hit that's going to deal 100% of Razor's attack in electro damage. So when Razor is not using the Lightning Fang, a lightning strike on the enemy will grant Razor an electro sigil for Claw and Thunder. Now, the reason this could be more damage is because you're going to need a total of 80 energy to cast your ulti, which is a very large energy cost and the maximum energy cost currently in the game. And because you need a large amount of energy, you need energy recharge on your Razor, but you need it in forms that are going to be innate to his kit, not in ways that you get from weapons or other types of mechanics, because by using his ultimate over and over and over again, you get a very large amount of damage. His normal attack increases by 26% by using his ulti, and keeping a sustained ulti is one of the big factors assets of Razor because you can constantly get more damage off. You also have electro resistance bonuses, so you're actually not going to take any damage almost at all from electro damage, which is insanely good. And your Soul Companion is going to do a large amount of damage every time you do normal attacks. So whatever your normal attacks are at, you're going to get more damage from that. So that's why one of the best weapons in the entire game for Razor is going to be the Prototype Animus, or the Wolf's Gravestone. As you can see, I totally have one. That's why I use it all the time on my Razor. Wolf's Gravestone, best weapon for Razor. Okay, never mind. Prototype Animus is what I use all the time on my Razor because I definitely have that Wolf's Gravestone. And Prototype Animus, of course, has really high base attack and, of course, a very attack percentage, which is very nice for him. That's why when using Razor and getting increased damage on your attack, it's very good. Now, other weapons that you can use, one of the best weapons in the game, I believe, for both Chongyun, Razor, etc., for anyone who's going to be a main DPS character, is going to be the Black Cliff Slasher. Now, if you haven't seen it, that there are people that out in the game that do a lot of testing with Black Cliff Slasher for many different characters, and they compare between different units and try to figure out what the best weapon is. This right here, the Black Cliff Slasher weapons are actually very comparable overall, just by the crit damage modifier, base attack, etc., to 5-star weapons based on exactly what you can get out of them. The reason you can see this is you can see this between Black Sword and you can see it between Black Cliff Slasher. And I actually do have a video coming out very soon where you can kind of see the differences between a Black Cliff Slasher and a Black Sword. One is clearly better, but one is still very close to that ability, so I will be putting that video out so you can kind of see the differences between a Black Cliff Slasher weapon and a Black Sword, so you can get the difference between a Battle Pass weapon and the shop weapons before they leave. So the caveat thing here is a lot of people are going to be asking me, should I pull on the weapon banner or the child banner before they leave? Only if you want the units. Don't worry about the weapon banner. It's whatever. But going back into Razor, you do not need constellations for Razor to be good at all. So pretty much every character in the game, you don't need constellation for them to be good. This right here will improve his damage significantly, and if you're looking to maximize your Razor, going for your maxman, these constellations really do help with going for that. As far as maximizing the damage through the constellation, going for any type of electro damage bonuses is not the way. You can clearly see that attack values, crit chance values, crit damage values, and potentially fizz damage values will really help push your damage over the next level. If we go into Chongyun's constellations, I already have a max Chongyun, which is really sad going into this banner, by the way. I just literally cannot stop pulling it. It's weird. His first constellation for Chongyun is the last attack of Chongyun's normal attack is going to release 3 Ice Blades. Each of these Ice Blades does 50% of Chongyun's attack in cryo damage. One of these things you can already see on his overall kit is that a lot of his kit is geared toward cryo damage. Elemental skills on the second constellation and Elemental Burst cast within the Frost Field created by Spirit Blade Chongyun's have their cooldown decreased by 15%. So if you're looking to use other characters' elemental skills and elemental burst within Chongyun's E field, you get a cooldown decrease while you're in the field. The other thing about Chongyun is Chongyun also regenerates 1 energy every time he hits an enemy affected by cryo. This can affect it only over 2 seconds. Basically what that means is if you're in the field with Chongyun, you can actually use your E and of course attack. Whenever you're in a field with Chongyun, if you didn't know, this entire field of the circle ring that's around me, every time you swing now, it's going to be a cryo attack. You can clearly see that based on the water kind of freezing around me right here, all that. Now once you leave the field, you do still get some of the thing, but of course it does end at a certain point. The final ability for Chongyun, of course, for his constellation, Spirit Blade Cloud Parting, and deals 15% more damage to enemies with lower percentage of their max HP than Chongyun. This will also summon 1 additional Spirit Blade. Here's the thing about this one. Deals 15% more damage to enemies with an HP percentage lower than Chongyun. This allows Chongyun to do just a flat 15% more damage when he's at max HP, while other people are at lower values of HP. And that's free to play account. And my experiences in this unit is that using this character as a main DPS is not really the smartest option. He is really fun to use, but as a main DPS, I'm not really a fan. As a supporting character, he does not work well at all with Razor, so do not try to use him with Razor if you're looking to do that. For the upcoming unit Zhongli, potentially good, I'm not quite sure, but with Razor, no, don't use him with Razor. Chongyun really thrives with units like Klee, Bennett, Diluc, those kinds of characters, fire characters. The reason it's so good with those characters is because when you throw up an E and then use another character like, say, Zhongli or whatever, you can now create a melt reaction. The melt reaction will do double damage against the target that you're hitting, which makes it a very viable option. Razor's weapons kind of vary what you're going to actually have in your account, so you're going to need a large amount of crit chance and crit damage. The way you can maximize crit chance and crit damage on your Razor is by using cryo characters or by using fire characters to max your attack while using a crit damage weapon. That is a very viable option. So many players will, when using their Razor, will of course do that. For Xinyan specifically, one of the things that I think is going to be really good for her is she's going to be a very strong unit on a lot of different teams in the game. One of the reasons I think that is because when you're looking at Xinyan, there are not a lot of characters in the in-game that actually put out shields. The only actual character that puts out shields that is on a consistent basis is Diona, and Diona being the only elemental shield that you can consistently put out every single time with an E ability is the only elemental shield that we have currently that constantly goes out on an E ability. The only other ones we get are Geo-based shields that you have to use a Geo character to proc the shields. And then that's really unfortunate because Geo shields don't really absorb a lot of the elemental damage that we need to take. You can only get them from Noelle, or you can get them from Ningguang or Geo Traveler currently, and then of course Zhongli when it comes out. But because you don't have other characters that provide these types of shields, then you don't have the main facet of these shields that makes them very good. The main thing that makes these shields so good is going to be the shield absorption factor that absorbs extra damage from specific elements. And you can really see that when Diona is used in floor 12, where there's a large amount of ice characters on the field, and you can actually absorb a significant amount of ice damage because of Diona's shield. Now, a lot of other elemental characters that are going to be coming out later on are going to have elemental shields that are going to be absorb specific types of elements at increased efficacies. Now, one of the characters that is in the game already that has one of these shields that is really good is Beidou on her Constellation 1, and the Beidou Constellation 1 shield is going to be popped on her ultimate ability that allows you to get an Electro shield. But now we don't have a lot of other types of shields that are consistently able to be put up besides the ice shield, and now we'll have a fire shield, and we've had a lightning shield since the launch of the game, but it is very difficult to get up, and of course it takes a Constellation 1 Beidou. Now, the other two types of elements that we don't have yet, of course, are Hydro and Anemo. We do not have Hydro or Anemo shields yet in the game, but the closest possible thing we have to a Hydro shield is going to be the Jinku Rain Screen, which decreases damage taken by a percentage based upon the overall level of what you have. The actual Jinku shield of giving 25% damage reduction is not even a shield. It's more just a damage reduction factor that you can put on characters. I think these shields are going to be a very, very big proponent in the game going forward, especially because we have sets that are out there in the game like the Retracting Bolide set. If you don't know what that set is specifically, the Retracting Bolide set is a set that you can use in order to increase your normal and charge attack damage by 40% when you have a shield. And the reason elemental shields are going to be very powerful is because then you can increase your shield strength based against certain typings of shields that are out there. Because if you're taking fire damage or ice damage, a specific type of shield may help you even further, and be able to use this type of shield in order to protect yourself against the damage, and you can do massively increased normal attack and charge attack damage. Now, there are some videos out there about a Retracting Bolide set that allow you to see the massive damage potential from 40% normal and charge attack damage, and this is a very good set when you're considering characters like Razor. The reason this is going to be a very, very good set for a character like Razor is because Razor has the ability to increase normal attack. I don't have him on this account. Fuck. Normal attack damage when you use his ultimate ability, so that increases that ability as well. The last thing about Xinyan is that Xinyan is going to be the best possible support in the game for physical damage characters, because she is going to provide a shield to those physical damage characters, and there are two other things that she provides. The first thing that Xinyan is going to provide is going to be she is a fire character. Because she is a fire character, she is going to allow you to use elemental resonance. The elemental resonance you can get, of course, is from fire, and of course can increase your total attack by 25% when you use 2 fire characters in your team. That is a very valuable thing because she is a fire-based character. Now, because you only have 4 slots in your team, if you were to use a character you can use a Bennett slot, and of course this would be where the Xinyan can actually fit into your team, and then whatever 2 characters you want for your main DPS. A lot of the time for physical DPS, you're going to want to stick with a lightning and cryo character, and the reason you want to stick with a lightning and cryo character is because the lightning and cryo characters together create a superconductor reaction, which of course lowers the physical resistance of enemies. Now this kind of team composition is very valuable with Xinyan, and that is why Xinyan is going to be a very good team unit. The other thing that you can get with Xinyan, of course, is her shield mechanic actually has an ability to increase physical damage dealt. So when you have her shield on another ally, you can actually increase their physical damage dealt, I believe, from the information out in the ether that is not called leaks, but is called something else, called speculation, is 16%. So if you're looking to increase your overall damage from that, that is a great way to go. Now, the other thing with Xinyan, if you did not know, is Xinyan actually is going to increase her own physical damage when she has her E out, and get an ultimate ability, and the first ultimate ability in the entire game that is based on physical damage. Now, she is not so much a fire character. She's going to be the primary amount of her damage on her ultimate is going to be physical, and there's going to be fire surrounding her. So if you haven't seen that, I'll put out the gameplay. So as you can see, the shield mechanic being a fire-based shield, being able to transition to other characters, and then her ultimate ability right here, where of course you can then rock out and then create fire reactions on the edge, but of course do physical damage to the primary target. For Zhongli specifically, being able to steal Geo shields, doing a lot of damage. There's a lot of reasons people are going to be hyped about Zhongli. I'm not going to go over him too much because everyone talks about Zhongli and talking about why he's good. So everyone, if you probably know already, but if you don't know, giant pillar from the sky, be able to tap an E or hold an E to do damage, and his ultimate ability petrifies enemies. That's cool. You can see they're petrified on the field already. The reason he's going to be good is because he had shields, he's Geo, petrifies enemies. It's nothing to know. Is he a damage unit support unit? Well, everything that we've seen about his kit suggests he's a support DPS unit. Very different than a support unit if you don't know what the difference is. A support DPS unit is kind of like Mona. Support DPS unit. Okay, he's a support unit that's gonna boost your damage, kind of like, not like Bennett where it's gonna be just a support, but like it's gonna do a lot of damage, but also support. Keeping the unit out for a long time, totally a viable strategy. If you wanted to use Zhongli, there are a lot of ways of doing it. Now, we did put out a community voted tier list, link to this in the description below, about a week ago or so in preparation for this, where we went over Zhongli and Xinyan and we rated their abilities and how you can use their abilities in order to boost their overall damage pretty heavily. The Xinyan as well as Zhongli characters do have mechanics that might be slightly different on this video than on release, so this is just the opinions of what you can do with these characters. Now, with both ratings of the characters, a lot of people didn't understand exactly what a support DPS character is because they didn't read the part of the sentence. What I would do first, before you watch like just the one section of the video, there's an entire part of this video that says how the tier list works. A support character is defined. It goes over exactly how support DPS characters work, main DPS characters work, etc. If you don't watch this section and you then just skip to the part where you see the ratings of the characters, you're not going to get any information out of it, and you're just going to put a comment in down below and then not know anything. So I would definitely read first and listen to how it works if you're going to watch this video to get yourself information on why Zhongli is good, because we go over that specifically in this video, but if you just skip to the ratings, you're not going to learn anything. Alright guys, my name is Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy the video, of course, like, subscribe, all the fun stuff, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace. It's good enough.